Hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Football Tribe UG channel. Robert Kesakos is your usual suspect. It's a pleasure to be back and to have you guys back. Been a lot going on, but yeah, we are here back once again to digest it all. So kindly indulge me as we get into today's conversation, because I think there's always an update from Football Tribe, your trusted number one source for the latest in football news, in as far as the Premier League is concerned, Major League, and other major, leagues across Europe when it comes to team news, transfers, and that kind of thing. So allow me to test our audience, make sure everything is perfect to the T, and then we will get this conversation going as we wait for all the others to join us. But I want to say thank you to all our new subscribers. Welcome to the community. Welcome to the Football Tribe UG community. It's good to have you. It's been a pleasure, really. For those of you that follow our conversation, both here on YouTube and on social media, that's on TikTok at Football Tribe, and then on X, on Instagram, and on Facebook at Robert K. Sarkos. Really, really much appreciated for the love and support. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for engaging us. Thank you for asking the questions that really, really get the conversation going. So it's been absolutely beautiful. So we're going to be talking about a good number of things. Amatas Cunha to Manchester United, then the climax of the Premier League, then Antonio Conte could potentially leave Napoli in an interesting twist of events, and then Al Hilal continue to pursue Simone Inzaghi. That and among other things are what we're going to be discussing this morning in as far as football is concerned. We'll keep it a bit short and we won't be going for an hour or so. So probably about 25 to 30 minutes should be enough for us to get at least most of this conversation going really. So let me see, waiting for you guys to join the conversation. Waiting. So if you kindly just joining us, endeavor to like the broadcast, but also consider subscribing to the channel if you're new. But thank you for the love and support. Really, really. Also, down in the comment section, you can engage us. Let us know what topics you want us to discuss. What time is it? Where are you joining us from this early morning? I know it's about 8 a.m. in the UK. It's about probably around midday in India or something like that. I know it's about 10 a.m. in Turkey, so it's still 10 a.m. here down in Kampala. So kindly like the broadcast, guys, and also consider subscribing to the channel. Kindly support what we do here by subscribing to the channel and liking the broadcast, as well as engaging us. Just in the comment section, just put it there that hi, and so and so. This is the team I support. I'm coming in live from, here and there. That's all. I would love to hear from you guys, really. And let me hope we have everything right with our comments. Okay, I don't want to miss out on anything in regards to that engagement. But like I said, the conversation will span around those topics. On Antonio Conte, I mean, it's quite a bit surprising for me. And then the controversial decision in that Manchester United came up against Aston Villa. Really, I found that, I mean, doesn't that really tell the story of the entire season, really, in the way it has gone in regards to questionable officiating decisions that end up costing teams crucial points and that kind of thing. So, anyways, yesterday, as Manchester United beat up against the 10-man Aston Villa by 2-0 at Old Trafford, there was an incident involving Altay Buendia when he sort of is believed to be in possession of the ball, but does not have a firm grip of the ball. And then it's nicked off him. And I think it was Morgan Rogers, who then goes on to score. But by the time the ball hits the back of the net, the referee has already blown his whistle for a free kick for what he deemed to be a foul against Altay Buendia. And I mean, in some way, in one way or the other, of course, because the referee has already blown the whistle, VAR cannot intervene to say, look, the goal should stand because there was no obvious and intentional error in this case, as we came to see, because there was no foul for me. But VAR cannot intervene because the referee has already blown the whistle before the ball hits the back of the net. And I think that was the biggest debate for most people. So because they cannot not intervene, then the decision cannot be overturned, or the referee himself cannot go be sent to the monitor to review his own decision. And so it was left to pass. But it was the wrong decision, in my opinion, really. And also, in that kind of incident, why not let the player go on to score and then blow the whistle? For example, match officials realized that they were getting so many offside decisions wrong in regards to, raising the flag early and that kind of thing. So what they decided to do was, we will raise the flag seconds late. That means if a player is in action, even though believed to be in an offside position, they let play go on for a couple of seconds before they raise the flag. So that if the player goes on to score, the decision can be subject to a PAR decision, a review, should the linesman be wrong about it or the referee be wrong about it. So I'll give you an example. Assume in this case, maybe Amadou Diallo is believed to be in an offside position, but he's headed for goal. He goes on to score, but then the linesman raises his flag to say Amadou Diallo was offside. So obviously, the referee will signal the same. And then maybe VAR will call onto the referee to say, let's review this. Or play resumes, and then as they wait for if VAR has recognized anything and that kind of thing. So, but usually play is halted until the review is done. So usually we all know how marginal offsides can be. It could be a foot length in, or even a whisker of it. It could be the defender's shoulder a bit ahead of what the linesman had seen, and then it's a goal. It's a true goal that could have potentially been, cancelled out for offside. Anyways, so in that kind of sense, so I do understand the frustration of Aston Villa and what they must have felt in that moment. Of course, it cost them a UEFA Champions League spot. It cost them millions of money by just that decision. And then, of course, we go on. What's his name? The goalkeeper in Emiliano Martinez goes on to concede a red card. I mean, what on God's screen earth was he thinking? Of course, they played a back pass. It's a poor one, and he has to intervene. But Rasmus Højlund is in clear control of the ball. But as in a way of trying to dribble past it, he really drags it a bit so wide for me that I think Martinez shouldn't have, blocked him. He should have simply run toe-to-toe with him and probably, try and see if he can fend him. In any case, conceding in that moment wouldn't have been the worst case scenario of the day. For me, I always believe you rather play with 11 men with a goal down as opposed to 10, and then also going a goal down eventually. So really, it's counterproductive for a player to make that kind of decision. So I thought it was you may think the goalkeeper was inexperienced, but it was so blatant, and he made the decision for the referee quite easy. Anyway, that's my feeling about that. That's my feeling on that decision. So they go down to 10 men and eventually concede 2 goals. Amadou Diallo with Bruno Fernandes are providing the assist, and then Christian Eriksen given to take the penalty on his final game at Old Trafford, where he will be leaving at the end of his contract. That's on June 30th, alongside the likes of Victor Lindelof and Johnny Evans. They will be bidding farewell to Old Trafford in what we do anticipate could be a massive transfer window in regards to a clear out of players, an exodus of players from that Manchester United team. So really, for me, with those three destined for the exits, there's another whole host of players that are destined to leave Manchester United. And we've mentioned some of those before: Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford, Anthony, Alejandro Garnacho. That one has been told by the manager, Ruben Amorim, that he needs to find a new club. Andre Onana was left out in the matchday squad for that game against Aston Villa. For that game against Aston Villa, and we all know there's interest from the Saudi Pro League. So if a suitable offer does come in, then they will look to move him on. Of course, it is hard to think that they will be able to recoup the 50 million euros that they spent on getting him out of Inter Milan 2 seasons ago. Actually, yeah, 2 seasons ago. So but they will be looking to move him on. I think while he's a good goalkeeper, he's been found ineffective or inefficient in certain areas, in so many judgments and that kind of thing. So really, let's wait and see how everything does go for Manchester United. But at least those are some of the players that they do expect to leave the club at the end of this season. Then the other players that they could be willing to listen to offers for could be Kobe Maino, because he has 2 years left to his contract, and yet contract talks over a new contract have sort of stalled with the club not in agreement with his wage demands and that kind of thing. So there's that to be monitored around Old Trafford. Anyways, our from Manchester United. Okay, before we even leave Manchester United, we may as well complete the whole story. At Manchester United, they have agreed to sign Matheus Cunha for 62.5 million pounds from Wolverhampton Wanderers. The 25-year-old Brazilian international, like we mentioned, will put pen to paper on a 5-year contract with an option to extend for a further year. Has had a brilliant season, one of the highest goal scoring stars in the Premier League this season, with 15 goals scored. I think he has the same number of goals as Cole Palmer. They've all scored 15 goals, and Matheus Cunha has provided 6 assists, which gives him a goal contribution of 21. So quite brilliant for him there to deliver all. And then, so Manchester United are getting that deal done. We all know they are leading the race to sign Liam Delap, but they will face competition from the likes of Everton, from the likes of Newcastle, from the likes of Chelsea. Those are all interested in also getting the services of Liam Delap. Newcastle want a second striker because Callum Wilson will be leaving at the club, and that means they will be only left with Alexander Isak as their main striker. And then, of course, United, when they bring in a striker, then that begs the question of where Rasmus Højlund and Zirkzee could be. Like we spoke again before, those two could be headed for the exit, especially Rasmus Højlund, with interest from Napoli, Juventus, and Inter Milan. So, anyways, we'll leave that at that for now, and then go to Italy. We'll come back to speak about the climax of the Premier League. But in Italy, in a surprising twist of events, Antonio Conte could leave Napoli, and there's no specific reason being cited at the moment in regards to why he could leave. But he will have a meeting with his bosses this week. Today, Monday, they will be holding the trophy parade after he guided them to their 4th Scudetto and their 2nd in the last 3 years. Scott McTominay and Lukaku scoring as they beat up against Cagliari, I think on Friday night, to win that game, to clinch the title, which was quite impressive, and it was the 50th Italian Serie A title for Antonio Conte, who won 3 with Juventus. That was between 2011 and 2014, and then between 2014 and 2016 went to the Italian national team. Then that's where he left and joined Chelsea, where he spent 2 seasons, and then left, had a stint with Inter Milan for about 2 seasons, and also won the Scudetto there. And then that's where he left to join Tottenham Hotspur for about almost a season and a half. But we know he didn't complete his first full season because he got sacked. When he was sacked, he then eventually joined Napoli, where he's been for this season, and he's misguided them to the league triumph. And Napoli will have a trophy parade today in Naples, but they are also set to meet the Pope. That's Pope Leo the 14th. I think either today or tomorrow, one of the two, they are set to meet the Pope and that kind of thing. So beautiful scenes, but it does not sound good that he could potentially leave Napoli. And in case he's to leave Napoli, the Azzurri are lining up former Juventus manager Massimiliano Allegri as their preferred replacement for the Italian gaffer. And Napoli are making the right moves in the transfer market because they are looking to sign Kevin De Bruyne. Now, Kevin De Bruyne still has an offer from from a Major League Soccer club, as well as Inter Milan. Sorry, as well as Napoli, but it is Napoli leading that race. So the player is yet to make his final decision, but he is more sort of tilted towards Napoli as opposed to any other club. But we will wait and hear from the 33-year-old on regards to what decision he makes in the course of this route potentially. And then Napoli are also leading the race to sign Jonathan David as a free agent from Lille. That's the 25-year-old Canadian striker who managed to score about 16 goals in the French League 1 this season. So they are really making progress. But like I said, they are also interested in the services of Rasmus Højlund as well as Alejandro Garnacho. Remember, in January, they had interest in the player. That's for the 20-year-old Argentine, winger at Manchester United. However, they couldn't agree to terms between themselves and Manchester United over transfer fee with a gap of 20 million euros duration, with Napoli valuing the player at about 50 million euros, while Manchester United thought or think his valuation is around the mark of 70 million euros. Chelsea are also interested in the same player, but that's that in as far as Napoli news is concerned. Back to the Premier League, of course, we witnessed the climax of the Premier League season yesterday, and in quite spectacular fashion, Tottenham Hotspur suffering their 22nd defeat of the season as they lost to Brighton and Hove Albion by 4-1. I mean, it's been that ugly, and for us to sit here with the fact that they are going to be playing in next season's UEFA Champions League is a bit mind-boggling, to say the least. But it is what it is. At the top 5 in the Premier League do qualify for the UEFA Champions League as well as winners, which is Tottenham Hotspur. So you have 6 Premier League teams in next season UEFA Champions League. That's Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea, and Newcastle, plus plus Tottenham Hotspur. Those do qualify for the UEFA Champions League. Then Aston Villa, who finished 6th on the Premier League table, as well as the FA Cup winners in Crystal Palace, will feature in the UEFA Europa League next season, while Nottingham Forest, who finished 7th on that Premier League log, did qualify for the UEFA Conference League. Speaking of the UEFA Conference League, we'll be talking more of that on Wednesday morning because Chelsea will be up against Real Betis in the finals of the UEFA Conference League. So that fixture is also upcoming quite very soon. Chelsea will also be representing the UK, that's the Premier League, in the FIFA Club World Cup alongside Manchester City in that 32 new edition of the FIFA Club World Cup that will be played in the United States. So be informed on that one. I mean, I think Chelsea players and fans and the manager in Enzo Maresca are still in jubilant mode after qualifying for the UEFA Champions League, where they think they really belong. And I couldn't agree more in some respect, based on their pedigree and history. I know I've sat in this chair before and told you that I did not think that Chelsea deserved to be in the Champions League. In any case, I would have thought that Newcastle, maybe Aston Villa, deserved it a little more. Not by measure of performance across the entire season, but in terms of their development or progress as a team. But well, congratulations to all Chelsea fans and the Chelsea interest on achieving that. Of course, so many people counted them off, and when asked about that, Enzo Maresca said that the English phrase he could use is the F word and off. I would tell to them, go F off. That's what he said. So I won't mention the exact word for purposes of language control on this channel. But that is what it is. It is what it is. So congratulations to Chelsea fans. My colleague Bukulu Stephen, the problem child, who works with Cruise FM, then in Bara, is a Chelsea fan. DJ Martin Lito is a Chelsea fan. A gentleman called Eden Dungu Eden, another Chelsea fan. Anthony Agaba, another Chelsea fan. There's another Bishop. He's called actually Kazibo something, but we nicknamed him Bishop, another Chelsea fan. So congratulations to all of you and the best of luck on Wednesday. Anyways, that's it at that in as regards to the Premier League and who qualified for what. Those that were relegated were as obvious as Southampton, Leicester City, and Ipswich Town, and those that were promoted as Sunderland, as well as Burnley and Leeds United. Those are the teams that were promoted. Anyways, away from that, then Al Hilal, that's the second place team because it is Al Ittihad that won the Saudi Pro League, league title this season, and Al Hilal, who are second on that log, continue in their pursuit for Simone Inzaghi as their new manager. So they are interested in the services of Simone Inzaghi as their manager. They do want to replace George Jesus, who is their current boss. They want to replace him with Simone Inzaghi, but they've also held conversations with Marco Silva of Fulham, but he declined the offer and did confirm yesterday that he will be staying at Fulham. They also did approach Bournemouth's Andoni Iraola, but he also said he's also set to turn them down and stay at AFC Bournemouth for the following season. Speaking of Bournemouth briefly, Dean Howson, that's the AFC Bournemouth defender that is going to be joining Real Madrid this summer. He was voted the best player of the season at AFC Bournemouth. Then still on the Premier League final day, we did witness David Raya win the Golden Glove and defend it for the second time. This is the second season he's won it. It was a shared Golden Glove between him and Matt Sells of Nottingham Forest, as they both finished the season with 13 clean sheets. And then Mohamed Salah, of course, walked away with the Player of the Season accolade. That's a Premier League Player of the Year, but also as well as the Golden Boot, because he completed the season with a tally of 29 goals, having scored the equalizer yesterday. I think in the 84th minute, shared the spoils with Crystal Palace in a 1-1 with a man less, following that red card to Van Gravenberch, who himself won the Young Player of the Season. So, in scoring that goal, 29 goals and 18 assists means that Mohamed Salah equals the all-time Premier League goal involvement with the legendary Alan Shearer, who scored 34 goals and provided 13 assists in the 1994-1995 Premier League season with, when he was at Blackburn Rovers, and were under the charges of Ken Dalglish, who helped them win the Premier League title. Good morning, Mariam. How is your morning? I hope you're still basking in the joy that you did receive yesterday from Anfield as Liverpool lifted that Premier League trophy. So, Mohamed Salah equaled that record. Apologies. I know I had mentioned somewhere in some of our videos that the tally had been 46 goal contribution, but correction, it's 47. The same record is held by Andy Cole or Andrew Cole, commonly known as Andy Cole. Did play there, started his career at Arsenal. That's where he came from. He joined Bristol City and then he joined Newcastle. I think after Newcastle, then joined Manchester United. But for him, he did it. He was the first to do it. By the way, in the season of 1993-1994, he also scored 34 goals and provided 13 assists. That season in particular, he had 41 goals in all competitions in 46 games. He had been signed in 1993 by Kevin Keegan, who was the manager at Newcastle, for what was a record transfer fee at the time for Newcastle, £1.75 million. And that season, 93, he went on to score 12 goals in 12 appearances. So, and then the following season, he really has shown his best with 34 Premier League goals and then ending with an all-season goal involvement of 47. So that is the record that Mohamed Salah was equaling yesterday of 47 goal involvement with his 29 Premier League goals and 18 assists. That means that Kevin De Bruyne and Thierry Henry still hold the record for the most assists in a Premier League season at 20, with Henry doing that in the 2002-2003 season, Premier League season, while for Kevin De Bruyne, that was in the 2019-20 Premier League season. The unfortunate bit for both players is that on both occasions, they did not win the Premier League title, because in 2003, Manchester United won the Premier League title, while in 2020, Liverpool won the Premier League title. So that's at that. Anyways, that's perhaps most of the news. We will be back later in the evening. That's at about 10 p.m. East African time. We will come live anywhere between 10 and 10:30 p.m. East African time. We'll be coming to you live once again to speak of matters, majorly transfers and news that will be making the rounds, and give you a deeper insight on your respective teams in as far as transfers are concerned. But that is the gist of the conversation so far as this morning is concerned, unless there's anything else that you guys would wish me to tackle in regards to that conversation. But yeah, we do expect to come on later live to speak transfers. I know Liverpool are advancing well in talks for Milos Kakes, as well as for talks to sign Florin Wirtz. Mariam says, I want to say thank you to all Liverpool fans in Uganda. So there you have it, all Liverpool fans. Mariam says thank you, wishes you the very best, enjoy that. And then Barcelona are planning initial talks with Joan Garcia to sign him from Espanyol, whose release clause we all know is about 25 million euros, and loan him out to another club. So now you can see how tables are really shifting. Barcelona want to sign him and loan him out because they know they still have Andres Ter Stegen, who is their captain, and then they also have Voxius Szczesny, who they are trying to give a one-year contract extension to stay at the club. Remember, Aston Villa are also interested in Joan Garcia, as well as Arsenal. Arsenal tried to sign him last summer. They failed, and they ended up with Neto on loan from AFC Bournemouth. Now they are trying to go back in again, but now this time on, they'll face severe competition as opposed to what they would have faced the last time out. Last time out, I think they refused to pay the 25 million pounds, which was the asking fee from Espanyol for the Spanish goalkeeper, who is really, really impressed at Espanyol this season. And now Barcelona want to sign him and loan him out for about maybe a season, and then he will come back and look to take over the reins from Andres and Ter Stegen. Now, for a Spanish goalkeeper, I mean, it's not too hard. It's not so unthinkable that he could, choose to join Barcelona. I mean, it gets him to stay in Spain and that kind of thing. Of course, if it's about the money, then maybe destined to give La Liga teams at this moment, including Barcelona itself. The reason as to why Aston Villa are interested is because they expect to part ways with Emiliano Martinez this summer, despite the player being still under contract until June 2029, according to reports. So let's wait and see how that also equally transpires across the summer. But like I said, we'll be back later in the evening or in the night. That's at about 10 p.m. or 10:30 p.m. East African time. Just turn on your notifications and you'll be notified once we do go live. Anyways, I want to send my shout outs to all our new subscribers. Thank you for joining the community. Thank you for the love and support. Our friends from India, thank you so much. Safa Ali, Prince Nkosi, Safa Ali from Italy, Prince Nkosi. Thank you for the love and support. Mariam Omoto, thank you so much there for always doing that, but you can. So, and we'll be back in the night to speak more of the transfers and more news from your respective teams. For now, have yourselves a wonderful rest of the day. I know it's about 10:40 a.m. Let's go and enjoy our respective work and hustle, but we'll be back. We'll be looking to engage you guys more with your teams and all the news that will be coming out through the course of the day. Otherwise, bye bye for now. Stay blessed.